going? I'm Rami. What's your name?
Ileana.
This is Ileana, my niece.
I wanted to ask you the glass.
And today we're gonna be replacing the front brakes and rotors on my Acura TL. Anything else you wanna say?
Yeah.
What else?
Clean your car.
Let's say it together. 1, 2, 3.
Clean
Clean your
your
car. All right, well, we can all give Ileana a round of applause because she killed it in that intro. But today we're gonna be replacing the brakes on my Acura. My front brakes and rotors, I have almost 0 life left on my pads, and I'm assuming my rotors are old. They've been about 4 or 5 years or so. And I picked up some Duralast ceramic brake pads. I only can hold up one at a time because these boys are heavy, but this is the brake rotor. The front rotors are different than the rear rotors. I'll send a picture on the screen right now so you can see it. But I got 2 rotors, I got pads, and so I'm giving you a tutorial on how to replace the front brakes and pads on your Acura or Honda. This is a very universal process, as we've said before, so you can apply these principles to almost any vehicle. Follow the steps, I'll show you the tools, I'll show you some tips and tricks, and we'll get this guy in and out in no time. But I'm Rami, this is RQ's Garage. Thank you for stopping by. I really hope this video will be helpful for you. No more talking, let's get after it. Alright guys, so before the DIY and before I show you the tools that we need for this job, my one recommendation is wear clothes that you really don't care about. Sweater I have, it's a little chilly here in Ohio in April, but it'll do the job. I have some crappy old joggers that I don't care about, some crappy sneakers, because when you're working in the wheel wells of your vehicle or you're on the ground jacking it up or whatever it may be, you might have some oils and some grime get on your clothing, so just wear something you don't care about. Next, let me show you the tools you'll need for this job. Okay, so for this brake job, you will need a wrench to take off the lug nuts on your wheels. You'll need a wire brush to clean a bunch of stuff, especially mating surfaces. You'll need a wrench with a 17 millimeter and a 6-point or a 12-point. Having both is definitely helpful. Extra leverage tools for when you're taking off those rusty bolts and getting extra torque and length. A 14 millimeter with a wrench. I had a 13 millimeter because I had different sizes, but this is what I will need. But a 14 and a 17 are all you'll need to remove the bracket and the caliper. Extra persuasion, so a mallet is gonna be helpful. Some brake cleaner to clean off all those components. Brake lubricant, thread lock or Loctite. You'll need some towels because these will come in handy. You'll need a C-clamp. A knife is always useful. And most people would use a 19 millimeter, but I don't have that, so this adjustable wrench will do just fine. And you'll need either a drill or a Phillips head screwdriver. These are all the tools you'll need for this job. All right, car's lifted. Now it's time to remove our wheels. So I have the jack tool that came with my vehicle, and just nice and easy taking out the bolts. Most of you guys who are watching my video probably know how to do this, but I like showing every single step of the process. So of course we need to take the wheels off in order to get to the brakes and rotors. And I guess you don't have to do this, but I always like taking off all the lug nuts in that star formation. I don't know, for uniformity, for good practice, but it's, again, super easy. This wheel hasn't been on in forever. This wheel has not been off in forever. So it might be stuck a little bit, so nice and easy. Take that bad boy. And again, for safe measures, I like putting the wheel underneath the vehicle, and just in case anything might happen to that guy. But yeah, this guy's really crappy. Let's go do the other side. And no need to show you the same thing twice. So with the magic of editing, voila, We got the wheel off, and now we can access our rotor. Now let's see what we're rocking with here. We have our rotor. Thing is nice and rusty. It's got some scratches on it. It's not in bad condition, but since we're in here, we're doing all this extra work. I mean, rotors are really easy to put on and off. You just take off that screw, take the old one off, put the new one on, call it a day, since we're doing the brake pads. The caliper here, I painted this bad boy red, bad decision, but hey, you know what? We live and we learn. The pads themselves are low, but once we get this bad boy off, we can look at the pads. We got two 14 millimeters in the back to take off the rotor, and so let's get started doing that. All right, so sorry for this, small camera angle here. I'm trying my best. We got two 14 millimeter bolts that are holding the caliper to its bracket. So we got one down here. We'll start with this guy. These will be rusty. These will be really cruddy. So some persuasion is not a bad idea. Get a mallet to help out. Righty tighty. We'll do lefty loosey. So we got to be hitting down. Not too bad. That was much easier than I anticipated, to be honest with you. So we can get this bolt off. Loosen up the top one. Don't know if you guys can see. I put you guys in ultra wide mode here. Wow, guys, this is really easy. I am shocked. I normally would be struggling probably just as everyone else on YouTube that doesn't show it. But I like showing you everything, and that wasn't too bad. So we got both bolts off. Let's see if we can get this guy off here. Okay, there we go. Not too shabby. All right, so we got the brake caliper off. I got this guy hanging from some zip ties. It's working pretty well. Gonna keep an eye on it though, because that bad boy's heavy. So these guys, the 14 millimeters that went in the through hole on the caliper into their thread on the other side, they're 14 millimeter. If you struggle getting these off and they're spinning into place because the thread is also kind of a bolt, you can hold this guy and clamp it down. There is a 19 millimeter that holds this guy and a 14 millimeter bolt. But we got our brakes right here. Take a look at our calipers. We have some life left on them, but that's really not a lot. I've seen worse. I'll be honest with you. I have indeed seen worse. So that's the back side. Take a look at the front side here. They just pop right off. They're really easy. Yeah, they're pretty thin. These are what the brakes look like on the other side of the vehicle. So again, they're low, but they definitely need to be replaced. This rotor is also getting there. I mean, it's old. But in order to remove the rotor, we got to remove the bracket itself, and let's start doing that. Well, that tripped me up. This bottom guy is a 17, and this top guy is a 13 to get this bad boy off. So, we'll start with our 17. Yeah, there we go. Ah, it is a 13 millimeter. Sorry guys, that tripped me up for a second. The bracket bottom bolt is a 17, but the top bolt is a 13 millimeter. Bracket, ba-boom, comes off. All right guys, so we just got the caliper off. We just got off the bracket. Bracket itself, again, is in good condition. It's gonna stay pretty good for the life of the vehicle. We have some compressing pins. Looks like they're compressing and extracting, but I think I might put some new brake grease in here just to keep it nice and new. But we're gonna clean up this bracket next. But before we do that, we're gonna take off our rotor. Rotor is old, a little bit slotted. It's got some waves to it, and every time I brake, my steering wheel vibrates like crazy. So the rotor is honestly just held by one screw. So take our new tool and just like that. But this guy hopefully should be relatively easy to take off. Literally on my first try. And just like that. All right, I got the rotor off. before we prepare the rotor to put it onto the hub, this thing is really nasty, and I really just want to get a wire brush and honestly just clean around it a little bit. Clean around the through holes, maybe clean around the face so the new rotor will get on here nice and secure and it's a nice flush, clean surface. Any of the crud back here. It's definitely not necessary since these cars are built with tolerances to withstand all this extra crap and crud in the wheel wells. But I mean, we're already here. The car's lifted, the wheel is off, the rotor is off. Might as well give it just a good 5-10 minute cleaning. So we have a nice clean mating surface to put our new rotor on. Don't need to show you everything, I'll time lapse it, but just wanted to give you an idea of what I'm doing here next. Alright guys, so if you saw, I really was just cleaning the face of the hub and kind of the inside groove here. This back protection piece of metal, but it's rusting and it's kind of falling apart. I really was just cleaning the surface of the rotor where it'll mate onto the hub. Kind of cleaned up some of the areas around it. But hey, this hub is good to go. Let's prepare a rotor and get this bad boy on here. Now, we're gonna see our new rotor and prep it to put on the wheel. And I put the old rotor next to it so you can compare and contrast what we're working with here. Boom. Would you look at that? Talk about a difference right there. I mean, I'll put them side by side for you, and you can just tell, hello, it's a brand new rotor and an old rotor. This is exactly what we expected them to look like. So, you guys have probably heard this before many times on YouTube in these videos, but there is grease on the face of this rotor, and the auto stores put grease or some type of oil just so it doesn't rust while it's in the store. We don't want that oil to get into our brake pads, so we have to clean this up with brake clean. That's the only way we can do this. And that's what I mean by preparing, is just cleaning up the rotor's face. So, got some shop towels. Ooh, last one. Got some brake clean. Get any brake clean, doesn't matter. AutoZone has the cheapest one. This thing was like $2.50 and it'll do the job for both halves of the rotors. So, that's it. Just like that. Brake clean has like isopropyl alcohol in it, so it dries really freaking fast. And it's perfect for auto parts when we're working on them. So, I like to get the faces and then I'll turn it around and I'll get the back face as well. So just to make sure we have no oil at all on this bad boy. Again, rotors are made of cast iron. So, all right, let's go put this onto our wheel hub. So we're gonna line up the rotor to how it was before, because remember we have that bolt to screw it in. So I see our bolt orientation. So this guy's gonna rotate a little bit. Put it on, boom, just like that. And it'll hang on there, it'll stay. We'll get that little screw like before. And I like putting it in the same orientation as where it was. If you have both of them, perfect, but one will do the trick just fine. So. All right, and just like that, our screw is on, our rotor is on now. So now I just want to take out our bracket, start cleaning it up and prepping it so we can put it back on and get new brake pads on here. Okay, now we're gonna need to clean up our bracket. We have our old hardware on here that will just pop off. Since in the box, we get brand new hardware. It's the same exact thing, so always double check that they're identical, which they are. And I like to clean off the mating surface for the new hardware to come onto with a wire brush. Again, doesn't have to be extremely perfect, but we're already doing all this extra work. What is 2 minutes of cleaning? You know, it'll go a long way. All right, I went a little crazy on it, but I think I did a great job cleaning up those surfaces. Not sure if camera see that. Nice and clean. Nice and clean right there. Not too shabby, maybe a little bit right there. But that's what I mean by cleaning the mating surfaces. So let's get the hardware on these guys and get it back on the car. You have our new brackets. Pretty straightforward. And a lot of brakes in the box will come with some brake lube. So I like to just lubricate the mating surfaces, anything that the brakes will probably attach to. Yeah. So it doesn't hurt, it only helps. A lot of guys will skip this step because they don't really care, but I mean, my philosophy is we're already doing the work. We're jacking up the car, getting our hands dirty. Screw it. Just take the extra 3 minutes and do it right. If this video was helpful, please hit that like button and consider subscribing. I'm trying to do as many videos as I can, helping out RQ's Garage's community so we can save money and we can learn together. So this guy is all good. Let's get it on the car. You know what? I just said we're gonna put this bad boy in the car. I totally forgot about our pins. I do want to check what is going on if it needs some lubrication. Yeah, they look in good condition. Actually, no, they're actually kind of dirty. Yeah, there's a lot of grime on them, so I think we'll give them a quick clean. And you guys know me, I'm gonna do this anyway. Even if they're okay, we're doing the work. Frickin', let's just clean it up. So you could put some brake grease on this guy, clean it up really well, but I think just cleaning it up with a rag will do just fine. We'll grease up the pin and get on our way. Yeah, that actually feels better. Yep. And then we'll do the same to the bottom. Pulled it out, clean it. Put some brake grease on them. Pop them back in. Yep, feels much better. So we are ready to put our bracket onto the caliper on the car. But before we do that, I like to take the bolts that they go on and I like to put some thread locker on them just to ensure that they won't fall off when driving, because that wouldn't be super duper good. So a little bit of thread locker, not too much. That one kind of just sprayed on there, but just kind of showing you to put them on the threads. It doesn't need to be on every single one because they'll all eventually work their way in there as we tighten it in. We'll get our bracket. Remember, our pins facing inwards. Orient them over to the holes. Hopefully I'm giving you guys a good visual here. Getting our 17 on the bottom. And then tightening up that boy. So 13 is up here. Just take it one at a time. Tighten up these guys. I'm not tightening them all the way. I like to ease them in evenly on the top and the bottom so that they'll tighten on there, you know, evenly. So that guy, so I'm using my 3/8 and 1/4 inch and Kind of just tighten them together. You know, guys are on here, which is great. Now let's get our brake pads on. So here we go. Here's the old one, here's the new one, and you can see a huge difference in life right there. I like to put brake grease on the actual metal piece on the outside, especially on this clip. So I'll just dab it up. Dab it up. And then again, you know the deal. Just cover it up. Put brake grease on the outside face. Do not put brake grease on the actual pad. We do not want to do that. Okay? The brakes are lubricated. Hardware is lubricated. Let's get these bad boys on there. There we go. A little tricky, but we got that bad boy in there. But essentially, it'll be the same thing. Put that guy in here. There we go. A little bit of persuasion, but we got her in there. Let's get that guy. Just clean up that piston a little bit, the mating surface. You guys know me, that's what I do. I'm not getting too close to the rubber here, so be careful when you're cleaning. Don't get close to that rubber boot. Clean. Let's compress our piston. So the front piston is a lot larger than the rear piston. I won't give you the best camera angles here. Use a C-clamp to compress it in. It's just hydraulic fluid, so it shouldn't be too difficult. A lot of people have done this a lot of different ways, so my method might not be quote-unquote perfect or correct, but it's my method, and I like it. Don't know how well you can see. Using the actual clamp itself to compress in that piston. Sorry for the bad visuals again, guys. Piston is all compressed in. Let's get this bad boy out of here. And voila. Put some Loctite on it. Get a 14. Alright, so our 14s are on here, and this guy is complete. Okay guys, so just to recap, we have our new rotor that's on. It's cleaned, it's secured. We have our brake caliper bracket on. We cleaned it. We put the bracket hardware on it. We have our pads. The pads have lubricant on them. We put them on the bracket itself. The caliper, we cleaned it. We compressed the piston, put the caliper on. They're all bolted down with thread locker and grease. Everything is good to go. I did some cleaning as I was in the wheel well here because I had the opportunity to. But the last step, where are you? The last step is to put the wheel back onto the car. So we'll line them up.
You made it.
we just finished up the front brakes and rotors of this 2007 Acura TL. All the products you will need for this specific vehicle will be down in the description below. That's where I found them. I got this whole job in at around $180. We'll round it up to 200. A shop quoted me $550 to do this job. I saved myself an easy 300 bucks just by doing 2 hours of work on a Saturday. You can do this. I know you can. This is super simple. Any questions, please hit me up in the comments below. I'd love to help you with anything you need. But I'm Rami. This is RQ's Garage, and I'll see you on the next one.